Welcome to the Dynasty Dojo. Hey, what's going on, guys? Jay Santos here, lead commish, with my main man, Dougie Fresh. How you doing, boy?
How you doing, boy?
How you doing, boy? What's new with you, man?
Not a whole lot. Just, kind of fantasy crunch time here. A lot of leagues going on. A lot of important matchups coming up. It's been grinding in the film room, dude.
How many leagues are you in? I never asked you that.
I'm in 4 leagues.
And how do you stack up in all 4 leagues?
4 playoffs, pal. I'm the consummate pro.
I feel like that's the first time that's ever happened.
It actually might be, and one of the 4 leagues is an 8-team league with 4 women.
Are you proud of yourself?
Yeah, I feel really good.
Yeah, and thanks for asking. Yes, I'm also in 4 leagues. I'm only in 3 playoffs out of 4.
I didn't ask.
Yeah, I got that. As some of us know, I didn't make Beatty's League. I did a couple fire sales playing for next year. Although I actually could have had a shot if I didn't do the fire sales, because losing teams actually made that playoffs. But no one wants to hear that. No one wants to hear how good or bad. Actually, no one wants to hear how good we've done in other leagues. They just want to know how bad we may do in this league. So let's go through the rundown. In this week, we're going to go over our betting locks of the week from last week, the Week 12 matchups, our picks. We're also going to go off a playoff push, so to speak. Basically, it's coming down to the last week of the regular season, see where everyone stacks up and what the odds are of people actually making it into the playoffs. A little update in regards to the losers bracket, the waiver moves that were done on Wednesday, and then finally our Week 13 matchups and the betting locks of the week. So going into our betting locks of the week last week, both of us pulled through with a winning record. I went 2-1, and you went 5-3. Am I reading that right? 5-3.
5-3.
So a good week for the both of us. One of the ones that we got right on both sides was the Denver game. That was just that game was over after the first 5 minutes. Actually, it wasn't.
That was a Philip Lindsay pounding.
Actually, I think it was scoreless after the first quarter. Got me a little nervous, and then it was just an absolute shit show.
Just a thrashing.
Oh my God, it's just bad. Bengals are awful. I did not get the Chiefs one right. The Raiders actually played a good game in that one, and Arizona, I did get that one right because the Packers are awful.
Stink.
The ones that you got right besides Denver was the Dallas game, and that was a great one.
Could have freaking money lined him, pal.
Could have. You might as well have.
Yeesh.
The Chargers also won against my stupid Steelers. And then your 2 college bets of Ohio State and Georgia, those were pretty much locks the entire way. You didn't get Cleveland right, Indianapolis right, and then the Minnesota Vikings and New England game of the over right. But overall, we both did pretty well. Anything else you need to add?
No, Indy stinks. I don't know what's going on there. I gotta stop trusting them. That game was junk.
0-6.
Not good.
Bad. Hashtag bad. So our records so far are I'm 8-4, and Doug is, I gotta fix that. That is 16-8-1. So if you guys actually did listen to us, which you haven't, you're gonna make money. You're gonna make some money. Get that cheddar.
Back to the window, man.
Yes, sir. I will cash in, but I know that's not what people have been doing, but they should have been from the get-go. So now going into our Week 13 recap, the top matchups from last week were Kevin versus Tommy and Nick versus the Beaties. And let's go into the first one. That Kevin, or should I say the Barretts of Kevin and Maddie versus Tommy, that was not a good top matchup. I mean, it worked out for Tommy.
Thing was a snoozer.
Snooze. I mean, that was up there for a limp dick matchup. That's for sure. But Tommy needed a win, and he got it. No matter how good or how pretty it could have turned out to be, he still pulled off a W, and it pretty much, I think Kevin's got like 0.1% of getting into the playoffs.
Yeah, he did.
He gone. But so good win for Tommy. He got a good showing from a couple of his players, mainly Robert Woods, and that was only 16 points. Yeah, I mean that says it all right there.
Yeah, the matchup is never going to turn out well when the two starting quarterbacks tie each other at 15.3 points.
Nope, not going to happen. And Kevin's team scored 70 points. That's the lowest total.
The highest scoring player in this matchup was Tommy's defense.
Yeah, 17 points. Bad.
Yuck.
But Tommy moves on to a do or die week 14.
Yeah, 14? But he did. He did. Emmanuel Sanders snapped the old Achilles tendon today. So
why did you have to ruin that so far? Man, I was leaving that till once we get down the slides. You got to all of a sudden pop that up right now. Come on, man.
All right, my bad, man. You can chop it out. It's cool.
Yeah, I'm not going to chop that out. All right, and the other matchup was Nick versus the Beaties, and it was at least what I expected. I expected the Beaties to have a good showing and to pull off a W, but Nick still had a good showing on his end compared to what he's had earlier in the year. His top guys of Zeke, Chubb, and Chris Carson showed up. David Johnson, not so much. And Russell Wilson is having arguably one of the best second-half seasons out of any player so far this year. So promising. He also got a good showing from Curtis Samuel. I'm going on and on. The Beaties got a great showing from their studs, more so than Nick's side, and that's the reason why he won. Anything else you need to add? Nah, he said. The Olympic matchup was me versus Scotty, another one that we kind of saw coming. I scored 137 on Scotty's side. He scored 86. A lot of single-digit scores on Scotty's side, a lot of double-digit scores on my side, so that says it all. Anything else?
Nope.
We're rifling through, and something that's going to have playoff implications, the matchup of Timmy versus Brian. Brian pulls off the upset. I think we both picked Brian to pull off the upset in this matchup, and it finally came through. Finally, Brian had a good game against a good team, and good for Brian. Good for Brian for coming through and maybe spoiling a playoff berth by someone, but most likely that's not going to happen. But yeah, that's.
You know what? In this one, Timmy's team, it wasn't awful. Like he kind of got a lot from a lot of guys. It just nobody had like a big game. I mean, he just got a lot of kind of average games, and I feel like sometimes that's enough, and it just didn't work out this week. But
Taylor Gabriel getting 1.2 points, stinker.
Yeah, I mean Chase Daniel. These things are going to happen when Chase Daniel is throwing you the ball.
It's true. Maybe, and I'm looking down his roster. Yeah, there was really no one else that he would have felt confident in starting. Maybe Derrick Henry, but even still, that wouldn't have pushed him over the top. So good win for Brian, and now it puts Timmy in a must-win situation in the last week. And then the last one was Doug versus Sean, and Sean had a pretty respectable scoring, almost 119 points, but your team, your Travis Kelce and Pat Mahomes combination really carried you through this win, and also the aforementioned Phillip Lindsay. When you get 25-plus points from those three players, you're probably going to win.
Yeah, Tiny Phil is quickly becoming like a lock as like my favorite player of all time in the NFL.
Wow, that's an aggressive statement.
He's putting together one of the greatest running back seasons of all time. Forget undrafted, forget rookie. Like he's averaging 6.1 yards a carry. People don't do that.
I'm sure I could find someone. How I do research.
Go ahead and research it. You won't find more than 4 or 5.
So there have been people that have done it.
4 or 5 in the last 45 years. Like
I'm
people, like I
fucking with
said,
you, man.
like I
Relax.
said,
I love Philip Lindsay. He's
like
a
I
great
said, man,
player to
people
root
don't do
for.
that. People don't do what he's doing.
Yeah, no, he's a fun player to watch. He just runs around, his hair on fire.
And
I think he
sometimes
might
he
be.
punches people in the face too.
Yeah, he might. Him and Blake Griffin might have the same mother. I don't know. The old black guys with a little bit of ginger in them. I don't know, but whatever it is, it's working for him. So, moving on to our Week 13 picks. I went 4-1 and have been 41-24 on the year. Doug's 31-34, and Brian gave up and he said, "Fuck the picks." So,
I'm not in last anymore.
yes, you are no longer in last place. Thanks for Brian forfeiting. And this past week's top performer, that makes 3 weeks in a row that Doug has been the top performer of the week. And this is Kevin's and Matt's first time being in the pitiful performance of the week and at the lowest scoring total of the year of 70.4. So now we're going to go into what the playoff situation looks like. So far, 2 teams have clinched. It's me and Doug. I've clinched the 1 seed, and Doug has clinched a playoff berth. You could be anywhere between 2 to 4, but you're most likely going to be 2 or 3 after this weekend. The other teams involved here are the Beaties and Timmy. If they win, they're in. Now Tommy, outside looking in. Tommy and the Barretts are outside looking in, but Tommy has the best shot of coming in to the playoffs because all he needs is a Timmy loss or a Beatties loss plus him getting a win, and then he's in. And then the Barretts need a miracle in order for them to get in. They need all 3 teams ahead of them to lose and also score 150 points, which most likely is not going to happen unless he could put up 300 points in a week. Now, like I said, if Doug wins, he gets the number 2 seed. If the Beaties win, Doug takes a loss. The Beaties get the number 2 seed. And then Timmy's got a couple situations where he can get the number 2 seed depending upon how either the Beaties and Doug do in their matchups. Outside of this that we see, is there anything else you want to add?
No, it comes down to we kind of had a feeling this would happen. It comes down to a couple teams for 1 spot, 3 teams for 1 spot, essentially. A couple teams controlling their own destiny, and even within that, even though I've clinched, there's a lot of movement that could happen. So, kind of jockeying for position here.
I was talking to somebody, one of the other league members. It was Sean, and I think there's a better chance than not that this is going to be kind of an anticlimactic last week. Because if I beat Tommy, then nothing matters.
Kind of over, yep.
Yeah, and we might know if the playoffs are already set after the 1 o'clock games. So big showing that Tommy needs to make this definitely a more interesting situation. And because you already let the cat out of the bag with Emmanuel Sanders being out, it's looking harder by the day. Now, in regards to the losers bracket, Nick's clinched the number 1 seed in that one and also the last place award. Congratulations, Nick. He's also guaranteed a top 4 rookie pick. Now, depending upon how this week's games go, Sean could be anywhere from the number 2 to 3 seed. Scotty could be the 3-4 seed, and Brian could be the 3 or 4 seed as well. It's just going to be easier to go through this as soon as next week. But anything else you got to add?
No, that's important. This is an important part of this league for these teams to kind of position themselves for positive picks next year and be able to kind of flip their records going into next year. So glad you threw this in here, and it's going to be interesting. It's almost as interesting as the playoffs to see who gets these top couple picks.
Yeah, when it comes to this league, whether or not you make the playoffs, you're still in it in order to improve your team. year over year. And, Nick's got if you look at Nick's team, it's really had a turnaround in the second half of the year. And if he gets the top pick, Nick can easily get the top pick in the rookie draft. And if he gets a top pick, he gets one of the top young wide receivers in the draft. They go to a good situation. Maybe they have an Amari Cooper like rookie year. Then that could completely change Nick's overall season next year. So who knows what could happen. Moving on to the waiver moves, not a lot. The Barretts got the Giants defense. Nick picked up Devontae Parker and DJ Chark. I picked up John Kelly, and Timmy picked up the Saints defense and Jeff Wilson. Anything you got to say about these guys?
I think Jeff Wilson could be impactful if Timmy slots him in there. It's an offense that has kind of proven to be very systematic for the running back, and kind of whoever they slot in there and gets the work seems to be productive. So that actually could be, fairly critical addition for Timmy trying to jockey for that, final spot.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree that he could have an impact. No one really knows how long Matt Breida is going to be out for. It could be 1 week. It could be the rest of the playoff, the fantasy playoffs. So depending upon how that goes, he's not a special talent, but if he's getting the volume, then obviously that's going to, positively impact Timmy's team. Hey, do you know who Timmy dropped in order to get Jeff Wilson?
I did not see that. Why?
It was someone. I could have sworn they were on your team. Oh, that's right. It was Terrell Pryor. Didn't you? What did you trade Terrell Pryor for?
Probably something good.
It was a second-round rookie pick.
Hey man, take advantage of these off-season. People get a little eager.
And that second-round rookie pick ended up being Dante Pettis, and the pick before that was Christian Kirk. And Allen Robinson didn't have a good 5-year outlook over Christian Kirk, but Terrell Pryor had a similar outlook over 5 years as Dante Pettis.
I mean, the trades took place months and months apart. You can't really, outlooks are different, man.
Also, you're kind of playing into my point is that if we can't tell week to week how players are going to perform, how can we say how people are going to perform 5 years down the line? Terrell Pryor was cut twice in one season. So
Terrell Pryor also ran for like 200 yards in a game as a quarterback.
And that was like over 5 seasons ago. So go on.
I think he had like a 95-yard run in that game too.
Yeah, it was against the Steelers. I remember that because I was at Best Buy working and I saw that on one of the TVs. Actually, it was on every TV because that's what Best Buy does.